Welcoming you all, I present to you the second part of my previous video. While in the dungeon, Kinji is using Shia as a bait to weaken and kill the Margin. Kinji reprimands her by stating how she's being used by the company. Following Kinji's words, Shia snaps out and fights the Margin for her own ideals, but couldn't kill it. Kinji makes the Margin lash out by making fun of it. Just as Margin is about to devour him, Rim comes back and tears its head off, declaring that Kinji is her food. Kinji thanks her. Rim explains how the Margin was incomplete because she left the dungeon and was calling for help. Kinji offers to feed her whatever she wants as a reward. Suddenly, a red orb shines and opens, dropping the into depths, a phenomenon same as what brought Kinji to this world. After having a nightmare about Rim destructing the world, he wakes up to find both of them in a strange place. There he is greeted by a girl named Ranga, the priestess, who asked him to save their world. Kinji asks where his friends are too, which she is confused. Upon Kinji's commands, Rim breaks open a wall, revealing a futuristic underground city. A man named Zazel comes in and tells them they're in future in a city named Marcia. He tells them how Demon Lord took control of everything in the past. He pushed down humanity into slavery and made them their slave, which forced them to take hide in this underground shelter for 300 years. Their resources are about to end, forcing them to summon someone for help through the magical gate they found. Kinji refuses first, but upon hearing that it might help to return to previous world, he agrees. Ranga joins Rim and Kinji on the quest to defeat the Demon Lord. As she gets clingy with Kinji, he found out that she is actually a guy. Ranga explains that since he was the only one with magical power, the role of priestess was given to him and he accepted, even though he is a guy. According to Ranga, in the past, once Belzebub took over, things downgraded for humanity. Ranga leads them to what he thought was the Demon Lord's castle, but it was General Ant's town. When Rim was roaming in search of food, Ranga and Kinji gets caught. They are brought to Ant General, who turns out to be the ant who helped Kinji. And remember his past working with Kinji fondly as it improved living standards. He tells Kinji what happened. Meanwhile, he tells the humans under him refuses to work, even though he threatened them fairly as thought by Kinji. Kinji comes up with a solution to help him by increasing humans' motivation and productivity. He joins the Demon Lord's ranks and brings monsters to Marcia, enforcing humans there as well. Rue, Power, and Zech, known as Three Ravens, members of Demon Lord's company, are worried about their positions as Kinji showed up and outperformed them all. Three of them comes with plan about how to undermine him and make him a corporate grunt. They failed, and their sabotage efforts only made him higher, and also he is now aware about their plot. Kinji condescends them by thanking for their help. The Ravens put their heads together and made Kinji deal with an impossible mission. Ranga wakes up in an Alice in Wonderland themed dream, which quickly turns into a nightmare by shadows of his past, revealing that he is related to Belzebub, the one who destroyed the world. In order to hide from his past, he ran away from people who blamed him and took the role of High Priestess in Marcia. Kinji wakes him up with a head bump, as it turns out that Ranga passed out after being hit by a strange beam from a massive robot, because of whom the mission was deemed impossible. But with the Rim's help, they defeated it and completed another task. Kinji's attitude cheers Ranga up, giving him some confidence. Finally, Kinji, Rim, and Ranga are given an audience with a Demon Lord, who happens to look very similar to Rim. Then it turns out she is Rim's sister, and shows them her true form, which is of the Margin, the monster that they thought Rim has killed in the past. Demon Lord explains how an ancient civilization which lived in this world created magic power that must circulate through the world in order for it to thrive. This process is guarded by the Guardians, who also guards the dungeon so humans cannot reach the information of the ancient civilization. Rim is one such guardian, but after she left with Kinji, Dungeon replaced Rim by creating the Margin or Demon Lord. Suddenly, a fleet of ships of the company that exploited the dungeon emerges in the sky and breaks into the Demon Lord's castle. Demon Lord tells them after being defeated, Belzebub plans and acquires an ancient energy deep in the dungeon and turn the workers into corporate machines with no will of their own. Still unsatisfied, she trained the magic of world to push it towards inevitable destruction. Majin then left the dungeon and attacked them continuously, but every time they would revive themselves through the technology of ancient civilization and come back stronger. She tells them she summoned Kinji to help put end to the company in the past, as she finds him most promising for this task. Just as the ships are about to break the barrier, she opens two portals, one to the past of this world and other to the previous world where Kinji came from. Kinji decides to go to the past to teach the company, who belittled him, a lesson, even though he wants to go back to the world where he came from. In the present, Wannabe and Shia are struggling due to the company. Just as Shia is about to be attacked by a monster, Kinji, Rim, and Ranga appear, saving the day. After returning to the surface, Kinji has a meeting with Belzebub. She informs him that he is to pay fees for missing suddenly and skipping work, but Kinji tells her he'll pay those off with ease. After he is repurposed, Kinji brings Rim, Ranga, and Wannabe to freeload at Shia's place. Kinji then introduces Ranga and tells Wannabe and Shia what happened when he went missing, explaining how this world would end if they don't do something. He explains his plan to take the technology for himself before Belzebub and would dominate the world, and not just the company. He finds out how the dungeon is changing and even lower-level monsters are becoming powerful. To ensure that they don't die, she decides to train Kinji and Wannabe harshly. She explains how everyone uses magic to boost their strength. While drinking out, Kinji comes up with a new plan and returns to the apartment. He is frustrated that he can no longer use ants as they disappeared. Kinji gets angry and shouts when he is interrupted by Rim and Ranga, playing with the gun he brought from the future, that stopped working once they arrived into the future. Suddenly, Rim bites the gun, activating its powers. Gun has a female and robotic voice. It thanks Kinji for guessing the password and binds itself to him and tells him that its sole purpose is to protect the life of its user. Confident now, Kinji takes everyone back to the dungeon. Suddenly, few monsters attack them. Kinji uses his gun, but it loses its magical power quickly, and as an emergency protocol, it starts recharging itself by taking magic from everything around, including their clothes. Kinji tries to throw it away, but the gun attaches itself to him. Kinji is infuriated as the gun tells him that it is the only weapon he'll need, so he can't use any other. When Kinji says he'll sell the gun as soon as they get out, it starts a self-destructing countdown, which will take them both. Kinji promises to oblige by finding a good use for it, and the countdown stops as the gun calms down. Some of the exploration team members who knew Kinji from before have been dragged into the mess due to Gun's emergency protocol. With barely a few clothes on, they also decide to follow Kinji into the deeper parts of the dungeon. On their way, they stumble upon what seemed to be an abandoned company outpost. One of the team members tells them a ghost story about this place. Suddenly, they are attacked by former company employees who are all behaving like zombies. Thank you for staying throughout the video. If you enjoyed, do give it a thumbs up, and also please subscribe to the channel. See you till next time.